So our next speaker is, like I said, Dr. Devin Young. He originally from Oakland, California. I guess originally from Oakland. Came down here for some reason, moved to Texas, came down here. He's been published in many magazines, health magazines, chiropractic magazines, and most notably famous for his help, most recently anyway, helping Meb win the Boston Marathon recently. And that was chiropractic. So there's some news articles written about that and all those type of things. So his main passion is helping children and helping the less fortunate in various countries he's traveled around. So, Dr. Devin Young, come on up here.
Well, thank you for having me here today. And before I get started, I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you to Will and to Yoichi for the fabulous job that they have done taking over this event, taking over the networking group. Smaller group today, but in general, this has been growing and growing and growing ever since they took it over. So I want to say thank you to Will, thank you to Yoichi. Good job. So I was debating what to talk about today. And obviously, I'm Dr. Devin Young from InTouch Chiropractic. We're located in Mission Valley. And so I thought I'd just take the opportunity to kind of go back to the basics of chiropractic, because oftentimes there's a misconception, or people don't always know what chiropractic is, what we do, and why. So I thought I'd talk about that today. So some of you have heard me speak, and some of this may be repetitive information for some of you. For some of you, it may be brand new information. For some of you, this information may even be life-changing. I hope it's worthwhile for everybody. So quick question for you. Pop quiz. What controls every function in everything that happens in your body? Nervous system, brain, right? Brain controls every single function that happens in your body. It controls your ability to move, think, hear, listen, digest food, breathe, beat your heart. Everything is controlled and regulated through your brain and your nervous system. So how does your brain communicate with your body? Nervous system, spine, and your nerves, right? Is there a laser on here by any chance? Look at that. Yeah, all right, awesome. So here we have that wasn't what was supposed to happen. There we go. So we have our head, we have our spine, we have nerves that come out of every level. The nerves that come out of the neck come down all the way to our arms, to our fingers. The nerves that come out of the low back here come all the way down our legs, all the way down to our toes. Right? So if I want to walk, my brain has to be able to communicate with my legs, with my arms to make that happen. But my brain also has to communicate with every cell, tissue, and organ in our body. Right? So if I want to digest food, my brain has to be able to talk to my digestive system, doesn't it? If I want my heart to beat, my brain has to tell my heart has to regulate its speed. Has to tell my diaphragm to move so my lungs can open up. Right? So the nerves that come out of the neck, the same ones that come down my arm, also come out to my heart, to my lungs. It comes up into my sinuses, to my thyroid. They control my eyes, my ears, all controlled by nerves coming out of the neck. If we move a little bit further down, the nerves that come to our stomach, our liver, our pancreas, our spleen. The nerves that come out of the low back, that come down my legs, are the same nerves that go to my digestive system, my large intestine, small intestine, kidney, bladder, reproductive organs. So our brain controls and regulates every function in our body. What happens if there's interference in the system?
Paralysis.
What's that?
Paralysis.
Paralysis, possibly.
Loss of function.
Loss of function. Okay. Is anything good going to come from interference in the system?
No.
Of course not. How might we get interference in the system? What would be an example of interference? Injury, and what would that cause? Pain. More specifically, we can get a misalignment in the spine, right? So if we have a misalignment in the spine, can that affect the ability of the nerves to communicate? There's a clinical name for that misalignment. It's actually called a subluxation. Who's heard of a subluxation? Good. So who can describe a subluxation?
I've seen pictures.
You've seen pictures?
Yeah. It's a displacement of the bones in your spine.
Good. Yeah, it's a misalignment in the spine. This is really dark here. Puts pressure on the nerves. And a couple things happen when we have subluxation. We have, obviously, interference in the nerves. We get pain and tenderness in the region of the misalignment. We get inflammation. We get tight muscles because the muscles are working to stabilize the spine. We changes in range of motion because those muscles are holding that joint out of position. Right? So these are all signs and symptoms of subluxation that are putting pressure on a nerve. Man, this is really dark. Okay. We're going to make this work. So what would cause a misalignment in the spine? What kind of things might happen? Horrific car accident, right? What else? What would be another example? Does it have to be a high-speed collision like this guy with a car in a garage? Posture, bowling, repetitive motion. What else? Sleeping wrong, repetitive posture issues. Bad ergonomics, right? How about slipping and falling on outside, right? How about repetitive injury, sports, football, soccer, recreationally, basketball. Here it says fall on ice. We're in San Diego, but maybe fall off our skateboard or surfboard, right? Falling down stairs, playing sports, lifting injuries. How often do you hear people, this guy just lifted something?
Do deadlifts do that then?
Tell you what, let's come back to that. Okay, let's make sure we have time at the end to answer your question. If not, I'll be happy to answer your question at the end. So lifting injuries, playing sports, lots of opportunities. How about for kids? Can kids get misalignments? Yes. And what would cause a misalignment in a kid? Trampolines. Who said birth? How about, hey, Will, I know this is you. Did you ever pull the chair out from somebody in your classroom? Right? May have done that once or twice. We did that all the time, right? It was fun and games when we were kids. But, man, could that cause a misalignment in the spine? Could that change the way that kid is going to grow up now? Falling off a bike, falling off swings, all these tremendous opportunities for misalignments in the spine, right? Someone said birth. Okay. What's something that every single person on this planet has been through?
Birth.
Beat me to it. Good. So birth, right? A tremendous opportunity. This is a hugely traumatic experience for a newborn coming through the birth canal. They did a study. The average nurse in the delivery room is 170 pounds. Average newborn, 7 pounds. Would you ever take a newborn, brand new, 7 pounds, brand new in this world, hold it up by its head? Yes or no? Would you? What's that?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. Would it be? Do you think this could cause trauma if we held it by its head? 7 pounds. 7 pounds of pressure. And these are on normal births. They did this study that the average pull on the baby's neck, 70 to 90 pounds. How much opportunity now for misalignment in the spine of this newborn baby? And how important is that to get corrected? And this is a normal birth. This isn't even C-section, forceps, or other traumatic situations. So when you think about this, of the effects of misalignments, the effect of subluxation on the nervous system, of how our body performs, of how it regulates itself, how important is it that people get checked for misalignments? Right? And who needs to be checked? Or who should be checked? Like everybody, right? You know, when we have misalignments, we see things like, if we go back to this original slide, you know, we talk about all the places that these nerves go, and you start to see how misalignments and subluxation in the spine, we start to see things like digestive problems, urinary issues. We see things like people with acid reflux with stomachs that don't work right. How about altered blood pressure? Would those be good things to know if you have a misalignment in your spine that's causing these problems? So who needs to be checked? In my opinion, and it seems to be the consensus here, everybody needs to be checked, right? I mean, these are good things to know. I just love this picture. Right, here's our brain, our neck. You can kind of get an idea of what's going on in the spinal cord. So I left a little time here. I just wanted to talk about, so the basics of chiropractic, of what we do, what I do as a chiropractor is I find misalignments in the spine, I reduce them or remove them, allowing their brain to communicate with their body as best as it can in the way that it's supposed to happen so you can live a happier, healthy, more functional, more fruitful life. Okay? Very basics of chiropractic. Will, do we have time for a question or two? So you had a question there?
Yeah, so
Yes.
deadlifts probably cause misalignments in the spine, you think?
A deadlift by itself?
Yeah.
Let's,
If you feel pain after a deadlift,
what, if you feel pain after a deadlift, let me ask you this. Does anybody think that pain is a good thing?
Yes.
What does pain do? What's the function of pain?
gives you a message.
Sends you a message that something's wrong, right? So if you're having pain when you do something, that's your body's way of telling you that something's not right. Okay?
No.
So we may need to address, I may be able to help you with that later, but pain as a function is to tell you that something's wrong.
Do you have a specialization, a technique that you use different than other chiropractors?
We do. In our office, we have two different techniques. There's two of us, so we have, as you're familiar with, Dr. Jack, is Nuka and upper cervical technique. And we also do what a lot of people refer to as full spine work. We do a lot of muscle testing and applied kinesiology. Okay.
Yeah, but also the opposite of sports injuries, a sedentary lifestyle where you're not doing anything that could cause some damage to your spine.
Absolutely. So we talk about motion. We talk about repetitive injuries, right? So repetitively being sedentary. Your body's designed to have motion in there, designed to have movement. So if you don't have that, it starts to be problematic. Okay. Getting the high sign. Very good. Thank you very much. I'll turn this back over to Will.
Thank you.